All right, welcome back to Radio Row, Super Bowl 56 here in LA. And, we got an actor now. He's an actor. He's a former football player. He's been in Coach, one of my favorite shows of all time. He's the great
cool.
Bob Golic.
Well, thank you.
And, played a little football as well. 3-time Pro Bowler, All-Pro. You're the quintessential Renaissance man, Bob Golic. Thank you so much for taking time for us here in Tampa Bay. How are you?
I appreciate it. I mean, you can't be a Renaissance man unless you take time for people.
That is so true.
What was that?
And profound.
Profound.
Yeah.
But, Coach, they killed me off. And Saved by the Bell, the college years got canceled. So when you
on a run.
When you said an actor and former football player, it's kind of like former actor, too.
Yeah.
But isn't every day acting?
It is, of course.
Yeah.
It's what I do every day. I've been faking it till I make it. And someday I may make it. Absolutely. So what are you doing now? You're doing sports radio, right? Like your
Actually, I do regular news talk radio back in Cleveland.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, I got in. When I did sports radio out here, there'd be a story about some player, domestic abuse or things like that, and I would say, "Oh, wow," and I'd call like a sociologist or somebody from SC, and I'd say, and I'd talk to him, and it would be like a half-hour discussion, and we got deep into things, and I thought, I really enjoy.
This is way more
getting
interesting
into these things. Yeah, I mean, it really is. And so, can Shaq get back on defense? No, I told you 10 minutes ago, Shaq can't get back in time on defense.
Nor does he want to.
But so when I went back to Cleveland because my dad went from being kind of old to getting frail.
Yeah.
And so I went back and I got an opportunity to go on to a regular news talk place, and so now regularly I hear, "Hey Bob, I loved you playing for the Browns, man, but what the hell happened to you? What the hell?" They don't like my politics, they don't like my beliefs, so hey, what are you gonna do?
But we try to do that on this show. We try to get into some meaty topics, and we will here with Sierra Delta, who you're representing, one of my favorite charities as well. But I want to talk. Let's talk about the Super Bowl madness that is here in LA. You've lived in LA. You've been an actor and all that stuff. This is pretty cool. It's kind of bizarre in some way because the Rams don't really have this frenetic fan base like other teams do. It's kind of an LA thing.
Yeah,
they built this huge stadium for two teams that really don't have a huge
that have no base. Well, I mean, even when I was an LA Raider,
right?
We knew that going into the LA Coliseum, which was built for us in 1928, I think. But no, yeah, it's an old beat the crap place, but it's iconic. Somebody said,
iconic.
It may be dirty and old and broken, but it's iconic.
That saves it.
That saves
when you
it.
Say
Exactly.
It's iconic.
But we even knew that if we played the Steelers, that half the fans would be Raider fans and half would be Steeler fans.
Right.
I mean, it's a transient town, and it takes a while to latch on. Now, if they had an expansion team come in and be successful, maybe you could bring the city together. But here, you bring in the Chargers, you bring in the Raiders, you bring in the Rams. You're going to have, they've all got fan bases all over the country, and you're going to have to share, and that's basically what they're doing now.
It's a different kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about how do you see this game? Let's talk a little sports radio here.
Okay.
For a former football player, let's break it down.
Okay.
You were a defensive lineman, by the way, at 6'2", 248 pounds as a second-round pick coming out and making All-Pro.
Well, I was a linebacker when I first came out, too. I was drafted by the Patriots. I was a linebacker at Notre Dame, drafted by the Patriots to play linebacker. And then they found out that I didn't really understand what man-to-man coverage was. and when I did find out what it was, I wasn't good at it.
Right.
So they let me go. Browns picked me up, moved me to the line, and said, please eat something.
Yeah.
And so I built up, learned to play line, and the rest is my history. I mean, it went on for another 11 years after that.
Well, you were also a champion NCAA wrestler. So how did that background help you in being a defensive lineman?
Well,
same thing.
The story goes, and when I was cut by the Patriots, and I thought my career was over. I couldn't believe it was done so fast. My dad told me, hey, we got a call from the Chicago Fire, which was in one of those other leagues.
USFL.
And I'm like, oh, great. So I've got that going for me. And But I got called by the Browns the next day, and the guy that called me said, well, one of the guys called me and said, we want to move you to nose tackle. And I said, I'm more of a linebacker. And they said, well, we own you now, so we're going to do what we want.
You weren't a very good one, so we're going to try something else.
But the guy that I talked to goes, he was from Cleveland. He goes, and I asked him about it. He goes, we knew you were from Cleveland. We knew you wrestled in high school and college. And the guy from the personnel said, what is wrestling but balance and leverage and control?
Absolutely.
It's like perfect. And so had he not put that together, who knows? I could have been the Chicago Fire.
So
wondering,
you must have some affinity with Aaron Donald, an undersized, a defensive tackle that is, arguably the best player in this game, arguably the best player in the league.
Right.
What are your thoughts on him?
He is it's just amazing, and I've watched him, and my son was like going. He reminds me of you. I mean, we played differently. I was a two-gap nose tackle, which lined me straight up on the center, and they said hold down the middle, double teams, triple teams, things like that. So pass rushing was kind of a secondary thing.
Right.
Nowadays they put him in gaps, they line him up, and but he's a guy that I was about 6'2", 6'3", about probably at the most about 285.
Mm-hmm.
And he's somewhere in that range too. So it's not like a big giant guy just blocking the middle. He's a guy that moves and gets things done, and really is. I mean, besides Von Miller, I mean, he's the guy that just controls and really brings that defense together.
Yeah.
I mean, that's gonna be tough. And the thing we were talking before, one of the biggest things that's going to have to happen is stop mixing.
Yeah. Yes.
And if they can get a run game started, it's going to help Burrow, but
help the pass.
But it's going to be tough, right? Yeah. Absolutely.
He's a very underrated guy in this game, Joe Mixon. I think he's one of the better backs in this game. Not a lot of people talking about him. He could be a key to this game.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt about it. I don't care if he's a big name, a little game, but if you can get the run game going, it doesn't allow. We used to joke and say it's like a track meet. When you don't have a running game, all the guys on defense line up in their sprinter stances, and get upfield as quick as you can and go beat the crap out of the quarterback. But when you have to account for a good running game, you got to pull back a little bit, and that's beautiful. I mean, that's beautiful for a quarterback.
We got Golic joining us here. Does sports radio. Has been an actor, obviously pro football player. Won a national championship at Notre Dame. The big question for you is, who do we have to blame for all these gregarious Golics that have infected our broadcast industry? This family, my God. It has been honestly a pleasure to listen to your brother, yourself.
Yeah. Well, it might have been me. I was the first one out, and of course they always tried to emulate their big brother,
of course,
or emasculate their big brother, or make fun of their big brother, whatever day it is.
Yes.
But I don't know. I don't know where we all got it from, but we're all essentially chatty Cathys.
Yeah.
And so and Mike's kid, my nephew, is out there and just going, oh my God. I mean, he looks like Mike a little bit, except for the gray hair.
Yeah.
And so I guess it starts with me, but they're all establishing their own reputations, obviously.
Fun stuff. Talk to me a little bit about Sierra Delta. BJ Ganem, who we're going to chat with as well. I've been working with them for the past 2 or 3 years, and we did an event last year with the dogs, my dog included.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and these service dogs are just, I mean, the effect that they have on these military folks is just incredible. It's the best therapy. It's the best drug in the world for these guys. Talk a little bit about Sierra Delta.
The thing too, and we've had this football game, the Stars and Stripes game, for quite a while. And
10 years now.
Right.
Yeah.
And it used to be the Wounded Warrior amputee football team, but now it's just Sierra Delta.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that brings these guys all together, and we as veteran players or old players go out there and play against them on that last Tuesday night. But, they talk about, and you made the comment, service dogs. And I found out this time, too, that one of the new terms that they like to use is life buddy.
Life buddy.
A life buddy.
That. Yes.
Because, a lot of guys, I mean, there are service dogs who, if you're blood if your blood sugar is too low, they can sense it. They can do this. It'll help you, whatever. But some people, and I heard it from a couple guys, they said when you come back, a lot of times you're just lonely.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have the camaraderie. You don't have the people around you that understand you. You know, even if you have family, you know, you don't have the same guys. You don't have the same connections. But and the concept of life buddy is just something that it's like, and as they say, anybody can have a life buddy.
Yeah.
You know, we all of us that own dogs know how important they are in our lives, and
it's a much better description.
Obviously indicated by how much we mourn when we lose them. And so that's what they're bringing. And instead of all the intricacies about, you know, somebody needing a service dog here, this, that, just having somebody be there, having one of those dogs be there to be your friend, and to open up to. I mean, I talk to my dogs all the time.
Yeah,
and they talk back, but that's the issue. But I mean, I just find that fascinating. And the good thing with them is that they take it past just them.
Yeah. Because
and you'll talk to BJ, and as he said, he goes, "This isn't about us. We don't want to be singled out. We don't want government help. We don't want this. We want to be able to go on with our lives."
Right.
And he goes, so having life buddies isn't just for us. I mean, it's for anybody who has to deal with things, and you know, you have it. So
stress.
Yeah, it's just an amazing thing. And watch some of the guys walking around with their dogs, and these dogs are just amazing. I can't keep my dog from crapping in the dining room. and they got dogs that'll just sit down every time they look at them and walk the right place. I don't know.
And Sierra Delta, if you don't know, they are
SierraDelta.com.
They provide these life buddies. I love them so much better. That's
Isn't it great?
Term, for the servicemen. And you can go to SierraDelta.com, he said.
Yeah.
And you can donate and help out in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. It's fantastic. And, you know, there's a lot of money out there spent on pets.
Yes.
And, you know, we can get the fancy collars and all these things. And again, I hate to steal. I don't want to steal anything from BJ, but, you know, he talks about how if just a portion was directed towards the life buddies and the lives of the vets, everything would be done. I mean, we wouldn't have to worry about it anymore.
Life-changing stuff.
Yeah.
Bob Golic, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
All right, man.
Thank you for the work you're doing with Delta.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Nice job.
I set you up. Perfect.